Have you ever stopped to wonder why, in one of the most developed countries in the world, so many people are struggling with anxiety, depression, and loneliness? Why, despite all the modern comforts and technological advancements, do we feel more isolated, stressed, and disconnected than ever before? It's a question that doesn't have a simple answer, but one thing is clear: mental health is a crisis that's affecting millions of Americans every single day. From the relentless pressure to succeed to the endless scroll of social media, our modern world is filled with triggers that can leave us feeling overwhelmed, exhausted, and frankly, lost. But here's the good news: you don't have to stay stuck in that cycle. Today, we're not just breaking down the reasons behind this crisis. We're giving you real, actionable tools to protect your mental health, find inner peace, and build resilience. Whether you're dealing with stress, feeling isolated, or just trying to make sense of it all, this video is for you. And if you're ready to take control of your mental well-being, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for Right Psychology. We're here to help you navigate this crazy world with clarity and confidence. Let's dive in. Society's pressure: how not to crack under expectations. We live in a world that's obsessed with achievement. From the moment we're old enough to understand, we're told to dream but work hard and never settle for less than perfect. But here's the thing: that constant pressure to succeed can take a serious toll on your mental health. Whether it's acing that exam, landing the perfect job, or keeping up with the Joneses, the expectations never seem to end. And let's be real, social media doesn't help. Every time you open Instagram, you're bombarded with pictures of people living their best lives. Perfect bodies, perfect vacations, perfect relationships. It's enough to make anyone feel like they're falling behind. But here's the truth: what you're seeing online is just a highlight reel. Nobody's life is perfect, no matter how it looks on the gram. So, how do you deal with all this pressure? First, stop chasing perfection. Seriously, let it go. Perfection is an illusion, and trying to achieve it will only leave you feeling like you're never enough. Instead, focus on progress. Celebrate the small wins and give yourself credit for how far you've come. Second, figure out what truly matters to you. Not your parents, not your boss, not society. You. What do you value? What makes you happy? When you align your life with your own values, the pressure to meet everyone else's expectations starts to fade. And finally, learn to say no. Your time and energy are precious, and you don't have to spend them on things that don't bring you joy. Whether it's a toxic friendship, a draining job, or just too many commitments, it's okay to set boundaries. Remember, you can't pour from an empty cup. Taking care of yourself isn't selfish, it's necessary. Studies show that perfectionism is directly linked to higher levels of anxiety and depression. People who chase the ideal often end up stressed out and feeling like they're never enough. But here's the truth: perfection is an illusion. Real life is about balance, striving for better while accepting who you are right now. And if you're feeling overwhelmed, know that you're not alone. Millions of people are struggling with the same pressures, and it's okay to ask for help. Financial stress: how to find stability in an unstable world. Let's talk about money. It's one of the biggest sources of stress out there, and for good reason. Whether you're living paycheck to paycheck, drowning in student loans, or just trying to save for the future, financial stress can feel like a weight you can't escape. And here's the kicker: we often tie our self-worth to our bank accounts. If we're not making enough, we feel like failures. If we're doing well, we're terrified of losing it all. It's a vicious cycle that can leave you feeling anxious, overwhelmed, and stuck. But here's the thing: money doesn't define you. Your value as a person goes way beyond your net worth. And while financial stress is real, there are steps you can take to feel more in control. First, create a budget. I know, budgeting sounds boring, but trust me, knowing where your money is going can ease a ton of anxiety. Start by tracking your expenses for a month. Where is your money going? Are there areas where you can cut back? Even small changes like cooking at home instead of eating out can add up over time. Second, seek support. If you're struggling, don't be afraid to ask for help. Whether it's a financial advisor, a trusted friend, or a community resource, there are people who can help you navigate your financial challenges. And remember, you're not alone. Millions of people are dealing with the same struggles, and there's no shame in reaching out. Finally, focus on what you can control. You can't always change your income overnight, but you can change how you manage your money. Set small, achievable goals, like saving $50 a month or paying off a credit card. Every step forward is progress, and progress is what builds confidence. Financial stress can lead to serious mental health issues like depression, and anxiety. But here's the good news. People who actively manage their money and have a clear plan feel more in control and less stressed. It's not just about making money, it's about managing it wisely. And if you're feeling overwhelmed, remember that it's okay to take it one step at a time. You don't have to have it all figured out today. Digital overload: how to reconnect with the real world. We're living in an age where technology rules everything. And while it's amazing to have the world at our fingertips, it's also exhausting. Notifications, emails, social media, it's a constant stream of information that can leave you feeling drained and disconnected. And here's the kicker: the more time we spend online, the less time we spend connecting with the people and things that truly matter. So, how do you break free from digital overload? First, unplug. Set aside time every day where you're phone-free and computer-free. Whether it's an hour before bed or a full day on the weekend, give yourself a break from the screens. Use that time to reconnect with yourself and the world around you. Go for a walk, read a book, or just sit quietly and breathe. Second, find silence. In a world that's always buzzing, silence is a rare and precious thing. Whether it's through meditation, journaling, or just spending time in nature, find ways to quiet your mind and tune out the noise. And most importantly, connect in real life. Face-to-face interaction is what makes us human. Call a friend, have a coffee date, or just sit down for dinner with your family. Those moments of connection are what truly matter. Studies show that people who spend less time on social media are happier. It's not just about cutting back. It's about being intentional with your time online. If you want to learn more about how technology messes with our minds, hit that subscribe button. For Right Psychology, we drop tips and research to help you live more mindfully. And don't forget to ring the bell so you never miss an update. Stigma: how to stop being afraid of being yourself. The stigma around mental health is one of the biggest barriers to getting help. It's like an invisible wall that keeps people from speaking up, seeking support, or even admitting to themselves that they're struggling. Why? Because society has taught us that mental health issues are a sign of weakness, something to be ashamed of. But here's the truth: mental health struggles are not a character flaw. They're not a choice. They're a part of being human. And yet, so many people suffer in silence because they're afraid of being judged, misunderstood, or labeled as broken. Let's break this down. Stigma comes in many forms. There's the external kind, the judgmental comments, the dismissive attitudes, the stereotypes that paint people with mental health issues as crazy or unstable. And then there's the internal kind, the shame, the guilt, the voice in your head that tells you you're not good enough, that you should just snap out of it. Both are incredibly damaging, and both can keep you trapped in a cycle of silence and suffering. So, how do you break free from this cycle? First, you need to challenge the stigma, both in society and within yourself. Start by educating yourself about mental health. The more you understand, the easier it becomes to see that mental health issues are not a personal failing. They're a natural response to stress, trauma, or even just the challenges of life. And just like physical health, mental health requires care and attention. Next, find your people. Surround yourself with those who get it, whether it's a trusted friend, a family member, or a support group. These are the people who will listen without judgment, who will remind you that you're not alone, and who will help you see that it's okay to not be okay. If you don't have someone like that in your life right now, consider reaching out to a therapist or joining a community group. There are so many people out there who understand what you're going through and want to help. Another powerful way to combat stigma is by sharing your story if and when you're ready. When you open up about your struggles, you not only free yourself from the weight of secrecy, but you also give others permission to do the same. You become a beacon of hope for someone else who might be feeling just as alone as you once did. And remember, you don't have to share everything with everyone. Start small. Maybe it's just one person you trust. The act of speaking your truth, no matter how small, can be incredibly liberating. Finally, practice self-compassion. Be kind to yourself. Remind yourself that it's okay to struggle. It's okay to ask for help. And it's okay to take things one step at a time. You are not defined by your mental health challenges. You are so much more than that. And every step you take toward healing, no matter how small, is a victory. Stigma often keeps people from seeking help, which only makes things worse. But research shows that talking openly about mental health can reduce stigma and help people get the support they need. It's okay to not be okay. And the more we talk about it, the more we normalize it, the closer we get to a world where no one has to suffer in silence. Loneliness. How to find your place in the world. Loneliness is one of the most pervasive and painful experiences of modern life. It's not just about being physically alone. It's about feeling disconnected, unseen, and unsupported, even when you're surrounded by people. In a world that's more connected than ever through technology, it's ironic that so many of us feel more isolated than ever before. But here's the thing, loneliness isn't just a feeling, it's a signal, a sign that something essential is missing in your life, and that something is meaningful connection. Let's start by understanding why loneliness is so damaging. Studies have shown that chronic loneliness can be as harmful to your health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It increases the risk of depression, anxiety, heart disease, and even early death. But here's the good news, loneliness is not a life sentence. It's a problem that can be solved, and the solution starts with understanding what you truly need. First, recognize that loneliness is not your fault. It's not a sign that you're unlovable or that something is wrong with you. It's a natural human response to a lack of connection, and it's something that everyone experiences at some point in their lives. The key is to take action, to reach out, to build bridges, and to create the kind of relationships that make you feel seen, heard, and valued. So, how do you do that? Start by identifying the kind of connection you're craving. Are you missing deep, meaningful conversations? Do you long for a sense of belonging, like being part of a community or group? Or maybe you just need someone to share the small, everyday moments with. Once you know what you're looking for, you can start taking steps to find it. One of the most effective ways to combat loneliness is to build new connections. This might feel intimidating, especially if you've been isolated for a while, but it's worth it. Start small. Join a club, take a class, or volunteer for a cause you care about. These activities not only give you a chance to meet new people, but also provide a sense of purpose and belonging. And remember, you don't have to be the life of the party or the most outgoing person in the room. Authenticity is what truly connects people. Just show up as yourself and let the connections happen naturally. Another powerful way to combat loneliness is to strengthen the relationships you already have. Reach out to a friend you haven't talked to in a while. Schedule regular catch-ups with family members. Even small gestures like sending a text to check in or sharing a funny meme can help keep those connections alive. And don't be afraid to be vulnerable. Let people know how you're feeling. You might be surprised at how many people are willing to listen and support you. Creating traditions can also help. Whether it's a weekly game night with friends, a monthly dinner with family, or even a daily walk with a neighbor, having regular rituals can provide a sense of stability and connection. These moments don't have to be grand or elaborate. They just have to be meaningful to you. Finally, remember that connection starts with you. Take time to nurture your relationship with yourself. Practice self-compassion. Engage in activities that bring you joy and learn to enjoy your own company. When you feel grounded and secure in yourself, it becomes easier to reach out to others and build the kind of connections that truly matter. Loneliness can be as harmful to your health as smoking or obesity. Studies show that people with strong social connections live longer and feel happier. It's not just about having friends, it's about having deep, meaningful relationships. And the good news is, it's never too late to start building them. Whether you're reconnecting with old friends, making new ones, or simply learning to enjoy your own company, every step you take toward connection is a step toward a happier, healthier life. Trauma. How to heal your wounds. Trauma is one of the most profound and life-altering experiences a person can go through. It's not just an event, it's a wound that can linger in your mind, body, and soul long after the initial experience has passed. Whether it's the aftermath of abuse, the loss of a loved one, a near-death experience, or even the cumulative stress of living in a chaotic world, trauma can leave you feeling broken, disconnected, and stuck. But here's the thing, trauma doesn't have to define you. Healing is possible, and it starts with understanding what trauma really is and how it affects you. First, let's talk about what trauma actually is. Trauma is your body's and mind's response to an event or series of events that overwhelm your ability to cope. It's not just about what happened, it's about how your nervous system reacted to it. For some people, trauma might stem from a single life-threatening event. For others, it might come from ongoing stress, like living in an unsafe environment or dealing with chronic neglect. And for many, trauma can be subtle, like growing up in a household where your emotions were dismissed or invalidated. No matter the source, trauma leaves a mark. It can show up as anxiety, depression, flashbacks, nightmares, or even physical symptoms like chronic pain or fatigue. But here's the good news. Your brain and body are wired for healing. Just as trauma can change you, so can the process of recovery. Healing from trauma isn't about erasing the past. It's about reclaiming your present and building a future where you feel safe, whole, and in control. And while the journey isn't easy, it's absolutely worth it. So, where do you start? The first step is acknowledging what happened and how it affected you. This can be incredibly difficult, especially if your trauma is tied to shame, guilt, or fear. But acknowledging your pain is the first step toward healing. It's okay to admit that you're hurting. It's okay to say, "This happened to me, and it wasn't my fault." You don't have to carry the weight of your trauma alone. Next, seek support. Healing from trauma is not something you have to do by yourself. In fact, trying to go it alone can often make things worse. Reach out to a therapist who specializes in trauma. Therapies like EMDR, eye movement, desensitization and reprocessing, somatic experiencing, or cognitive behavioral therapy, CBET, can be incredibly effective in helping you process and heal from trauma. If therapy feels like too big of a step, consider joining a support group. Being around others who understand what you're going through can be incredibly validating and empowering. Another crucial part of healing is learning to regulate your nervous system. Trauma often leaves your body stuck in a state of hyperarousal, constant fight or flight mode, or hypoarousal, feeling numb and disconnected. Practices like deep breathing, meditation, yoga, or even just spending time in nature can help you feel more grounded and present. These tools won't erase your trauma, but they can help you feel safer in your own body. It's also important to create a sense of safety in your life. This might mean setting boundaries with people who trigger you, creating a calming environment at home, or even just giving yourself permission to say no to things that feel overwhelming. Healing from trauma is about rebuilding trust in yourself, in others, and in the world around you, and that takes time. Finally, be patient with yourself. Healing is not a linear process. There will be good days and bad days, moments of progress, and moments of setback. That's okay. What matters is that you keep moving forward, even if it's just one small step at a time. Celebrate your victories, no matter how small they seem. Did you get out of bed today? That's a win. Did you reach out to a friend or try a new coping skill? That's a win. Healing is about progress, not perfection. Trauma can have long-term effects on mental health, including PTSD, depression, and anxiety. But research shows that getting help early and having a strong support system can speed up the healing process. You don't have to go through it alone. And remember, healing is not about forgetting what happened. It's about finding a way to live with it, to grow from it, and to reclaim your life. Community. How to find strength in others. Humans are wired for connection. From the earliest days of our existence, we've thrived in community, tribes, families, villages, where we could rely on one another for support, safety, and belonging. But in today's fast-paced, hyper-individualistic world, many of us have lost touch with that sense of community. We're more connected than ever through technology, yet we often feel more isolated than ever in real life, and that isolation can take a toll on our mental health. Loneliness, disconnection, and a lack of belonging are all too common. But the good news is that community is still out there, and it's one of the most powerful tools we have for healing and resilience. So, what exactly is community? It's not just about being around people. It's about feeling seen, heard, and valued. It's about having a network of people who support you, challenge you, and remind you that you're not alone. Community can take many forms. Your family, your friends, a support group, a religious or spiritual group, a team, or even an online community of like-minded individuals. The key is finding a space where you feel like you belong. But why is community so important? Research shows that people with strong social connections are happier, healthier, and live longer. They're better at coping with stress, more resilient in the face of challenges, and less likely to experience mental health issues like depression and anxiety. Community gives us a sense of purpose, a feeling of being part of something bigger than ourselves. It reminds us that we're not alone in our struggles and that there are people who care about us and want to help. So, how do you build or find a community that supports you? It starts with being intentional. Think about the kind of connections you're craving. Do you want a group of people who share your interests or values? Are you looking for emotional support, practical help, or just a sense of belonging? Once you know what you're looking for, you can start taking steps to find it. One of the best ways to build community is to get involved in activities or groups that align with your interests. Join a club, take a class, volunteer for a cause you care about, or attend local events. These activities not only give you a chance to meet new people, but also provide a sense of purpose and connection. And don't worry if you're not the most outgoing person. Community isn't about being the life of the party. It's about showing up as yourself and letting the connections happen naturally. Another powerful way to build community is to strengthen the relationships you already have. Reach out to a friend you haven't talked to in a while. Schedule regular catch-ups with family members. Even small gestures, like sending a text to check in or sharing a funny meme, can help keep those connections alive. And don't be afraid to be vulnerable. Let people know how you're feeling. You might be surprised at how many people are willing to listen and support you. Creating traditions can also help build a sense of community. Whether it's a weekly game night with friends, a monthly dinner with family, or even a daily walk with a neighbor, having regular rituals can provide a sense of stability and connection. These moments don't have to be grand or elaborate. They just have to be meaningful to you. If you're struggling to find community in your immediate surroundings, consider looking online. There are countless online communities where people come together to share their experiences, offer support, and connect over shared interests. Whether it's a Facebook group, a Reddit thread, or a forum dedicated to a specific topic, these spaces can be a lifeline for people who feel isolated in their day-to-day lives. Finally, remember that community is a two-way street. It's not just about what you can get, it's also about what you can give. Be there for others. Listen when they need to talk. Offer help when they're struggling. Celebrate their wins and support them through their losses. When you show up for others, you not only strengthen your connections, but also remind yourself of the power of community. Social support is one of the most powerful protectors of mental health. Studies show that people with strong social ties handle stress better and recover faster from trauma. It's not just about having people around. It's about having people who truly care. And the good news is, it's never too late to start building those connections. Whether you're reconnecting with old friends, making new ones, or simply learning to enjoy your own company, every step you take toward community is a step toward a happier, healthier life. If you've made it this far, it means you truly care about your mental health, and that's a huge step forward. Remember, taking care of yourself isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. Find your anchors, whether it's loved ones, nature, creativity, or just quiet moments. And don't forget to subscribe to Right Psychology and hit that bell so you never miss a video that helps you understand yourself and the world around you better. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.